I'm not a philosopher. I've never studied philosophy, and if I started preaching philosophy right now, you'd probably laugh in my face. Because I don't know my ass from my elbow when it comes to the study of philosophy. Most of it goes right over my head. However, through the course of my life, I have, through my own struggles, my own challenges, my own victories and my own failures, organically started to learn certain things about life, about my own values, about my own identity, about my purpose, about everything. Mother Nature taught me everything I needed to know by pairing me up with a very gifted sparring partner, by just making life challenging for me. However, fast forward in my life, I've learned some really hard but very valuable lessons. I learned to not regard my hardships as moments in my life when times were unfair, but as gifts, as learning tools to help me become a better version of myself and to gift me with a healthier perspective on life, and just the fact that sometimes life's unfair, you gotta roll with the punches and adapt. And there's one lesson in particular, one term that I ended up learning later on in my life that pulled me into a philosophy, a type of philosophy that really, really resonated with me organically. I didn't discover it and formulate my life around it. It discovered me because I could see myself reflected in the lessons. And I realized just how valuable these lessons were, even though they were thousands of years old. And they still hold incredibly true to today. And one in particular, this one quote that I remember hearing, apart from Temet Noske, know thyself, which is at the foundation of everything that I do, it is the expression Memento Mori. And the idea behind Memento Mori, as far as I understand, as far as I hear a lot of teachers of Stoicism go on about as well, is that when you die, which we all will do, we all die eventually. When? None of us will ever know, most likely. When we die, everything that we have ever owned is irrelevant. That gravestone, that funeral, all the memorabilia, all of the keepsakes, those are only for the living. They're not for the dead, because when you're dead, that won't matter. The gravestone is not for you. It's for everybody else. You don't own anything. All of these things you purchase, all of these trinkets you invest yourself in, all of these things you have, and all of these things you invest your energy and your time into are all going to be gone when you die. And it makes you realize that there's only one thing that you truly have as a human being. And there's only one thing you truly have that you have in limited resource. And then it's gone. And that's time. Time is the only thing you have, and you don't know how long you're going to have it. And when you realize that, you start to reflect on how much of that time is wasted doing things that will never bring you, your life, or the lives of others who you impact any value. That they will die with you and they'll be gone. I very often like to reflect. Something I've done for a long time is I imagine myself. I like to visualize myself being dead, and I'm lying in a casket with an ankh or something like that, and a party hat on or something like that, and a stogie hanging out of my mouth, a cigar, like Baby Herman. And I'm sitting there with pink round blush on me because the embalmer did an absolute shit job. And I'm lying there looking silly as fuck and imagining what people would say about me. Imagine how people would remember me. And the reason the reason why is because I've been to a few funerals. I haven't been to too many of them, but I've been to funerals for friends and for family members and for extended family and stuff like that. And I find that people very often have a very hard time describing the quality of a person's life. And you see like the slideshow and you see the pictures up on the wall and some stupid cheesy poem and some flowers and all that kind of shit. And people come up to say their eulogies, and they never live up to the depth that person truly was. And I ask myself the question, if I was lying in my deathbed, what would people say about me? What would be the thing? What would be the takeaway? Would people give a shit about how nice my studio looks? Would people give a shit what kind of drawing tablet I drew on? Would people give a shit about the clothes that I wear? Would people give a shit about any of that stuff? No. None of that would matter at all. In the end, when you really are at the very, very end of life, and I happen to be witnessing somebody's life ending as we speak at the time of this recording right now. I won't get into details about it, but I'm witnessing a tragic death happening as we speak. And it becomes immediately apparent when you're watching this happen what truly matters. And when I reflect on this person, when I picture this person's face and what they're going through right now, watching them slip away, as we all do, I reflect on one and only one thing: that this person was a good soul, that this person is a good soul, that they're sweet and good friends, and they have a great sense of humor, they're creative, they're lighthearted, they bring quality into the lives of other people. Period. Everything else that they own, who cares? It doesn't matter. They're literally right now lying in their deathbed. And the only thing that matters is the feeling that is shared between them and everybody else around them, their loved ones. When I'm doing these videos, when I'm sharing these videos with you, I've always held this belief that I've held this feeling like, if I die tomorrow, I want to leave your life with something of value. I don't want you to value me, because that doesn't matter. That's feeding my own ego. Once I'm dead, who gives a shit? Doesn't affect me anymore. I'm not bringing myself value after I'm dead. But I can bring you value, can't I? To which I ask the question, when we reflect on Memento Mori, when we reflect on remember death, remember the time you have. Do you care what camera I'm using right now? Do you care what tablet I draw on? Do you care what kind of stylus I'm using? Do you care about any of this stuff? No. You care about the message. You care how I'm making you feel. You care how I might be sharing with you something that helps you gain a greater sense of ownership and comfort and control and calm and joy about your own life. You're listening to this to feel something. You're listening to this to take something away. You're an artist. Most likely, if you're watching this channel, because it's an art channel, you're an artist. And as artists, it's amazing being a teacher and having listened to other students and listening to other teachers talk about this as well. It's amazing how much of our time we waste asking questions about how to draw, what to draw with, how to do this, how to do that. When in fact, there's only one real thing that matters: the art, the drawing, right? Anthony Jones, who I talk about all the time, he has a great response to this. It's a tongue-in-cheek kind of response, but it's just the plain truth. It's the same truth that I hear Steve Zapata talk about as well. It's, people ask him about what tools to use and what brushes to use and what his layer options are like and what his blending options are. And he teaches all that stuff because those are all fundamentals we all need to learn. But he very often will cut somebody off. He says, it doesn't matter. Pick up your stylus and draw. If you want to get good at art, if you want to do something that matters, just draw. Just draw. Every day draw. Draw every chance you get. Draw, draw, draw. Don't think about it. Don't plan for it. Just do it. Just draw. And the drawing is the thing that brings you value. The drawing is the thing that brings you growth. The drawing is the thing that makes you learn. It's just shh, quiet. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about Instagram. Don't worry about social media. Don't worry about YouTube. Don't worry about any of that shit. Just make your fucking drawing. That's all that matters. And everything else that you're throwing onto the pile, all of these other processes and pieces of gear and drawing gloves and image reference monitors and all of that shit is just a distraction. It's just clutter. And when you can purge yourself of that clutter and just face the reality, just fucking draw, all of a sudden you get better. All of a sudden you produce. All of a sudden you start to have epiphanies because you're setting yourself up to have an epiphany. All of a sudden the law of attraction starts to kick in and you start to become more aware of your surroundings that bring your art more value. It doesn't matter what tool you're using. I'll give you a really good example. Looking at this video that I have right now with the mic that I have and my background and the lighting and all that kind of fun stuff that I love indulging in. I want you to go and look at it. I want you to look back, scroll through the hundreds of videos that I've produced over the years and go and look for something that I posted maybe 7-8 years ago. And ask yourself the question, when you compare then to now, what's changed? Chances are I'm a little bit older, most likely, right? I'm 7 years older, probably, 7 years younger at least. My background's changed. My walls are a different color. You notice my microphone might sound a little bit different. The lighting's a little bit different, etc. But apart from that, not much. It's just a newer video. But what you don't realize, from my perspective, is everything you don't see behind the camera. Back then, if we go 7-8 years ago, I had 2 computer setups, meaning 2 computers, 6 or 7 monitors setups for these 2 different desk setups, which meant 2 desks, an absolute nightmare of cable management, camera gear cages, special tripods, a whole collection of lenses, and a lighting, and all of this shit that I set up all over the place. I didn't even have space on my desk for anything. I needed 2 desks because one desk was dedicated to video shooting and the other desk was dedicated to teaching. And then I needed to set up all my webcams and everything like that to go with it. It was a nightmare of setup. It was a nightmare of takedown. It took forever to get anything going. Fast forward to today, I have 1 desk, 1 drawing tablet, 1 monitor, 1 lighting setup, very few wires to worry about, 1 camera, play. You don't see any of that crap. There is thousands of dollars worth of gear you never saw and never will. But I saw it come and I saw it go. And I'll tell you something, the minute I got rid of all that extra baggage, the wires, the setup, the moving furniture around, the not having enough space to get anything done when I wanted to shoot something and I wanted to set up tripods and all of that shit, all of the extra burden I added on top of the process of just trying to get the job done, I wasn't filming. I wasn't actually producing anything. It was just such a burden to get myself up and going to the point where it would sometimes even discourage me to do it. Not today. Now, turn my camera on, turn my lighting on, hit play, and I'm good to go. You don't need all of that crap because that in the long run doesn't have any impact on the quality of your work or to your audience's experience. You know what does matter? Your imagination, your cleverness, your insightfulness. People don't care if you've got the prettiest drawing. People like the most interesting, unique, insightful, emotional, evocative drawings. This is one of the reasons why I love Dark Souls art. If you look at the art of Dark Souls, it's not the most impressive draftsmanship like League of Legends. Not that I'm dissing on League of Legends, it's beautiful stuff, but that's not why I love Dark Souls art. I love Dark Souls art because you can tell the instruction they got was make something feel tragic and melancholy and furious and terrified and monstrous and emotional and ancient as you possibly can. Go for it. And they invested all of their energy into that human experience of expressing something visually. That's why it's just such powerful, beautiful, inspiring work. Not because I look at it and go, wow, that's the most polished drawing technique I've ever seen. In fact, it's far from it. The artists' minds and from software are in the right place, in my opinion, because they're coming from an authentic place. And if one of Miyazaki's greatest gifts as a director, and all of the amazing directors at From Software, is just make me feel something. Make me feel something. Don't worry about how blingy this looks. And this is how they come up with these organic, incredible designs that are timeless. Every single one of the creatures and characters is burned into your brain like a core memory, isn't it? That's because they're coming from the right place. That's because the tools that they use are the most basic tools possible, but they do great human work with it that you and I will remember forever. They're making great use of that time and not distracting themselves with all of these irrelevant details. So to you, I say, if you're sitting there trying to find motivation to draw, if you're trying to find the right gear to draw, if you're trying to find the right glove to draw with, if you're trying to find the right technique, the right tutorial, if that's what you're doing, stop. Instead, I want you to stimulate your brain, make yourself a nice warm drink, pick up your pencil, your pen, your paintbrush, and just fucking draw. And you have my word. If you do that a few times, you will gain the momentum. You will make that emotional connection with your work, and that will drive you to keep going. Something I wrote in my journal this morning. Consistency stimulates consistency. You need to be physically connected to your work. And if you take a break for 2-3 weeks, you kind of lose that feeling. And the only way to cure that is to rekindle the feeling. You need to rekindle the romantic flame with your drawing by doing the deed, by doing the act of actually drawing. Hopefully that realigns your brain a little bit, because I know how bloody distracting the world can be nowadays, but it doesn't have to be. You have total control over this. Memento Mori. Okay? With that said, I love you all with all my heart, and happy painting. Take care.